Happy Monday, gentlemen. I hope you're looking forward to this week. I'm looking forward to talking with you on Tuesday. I wanted to go ahead and get this video out to you early so you would have time to think about it. This particular exercise is asking you to write some note cards. I have created note cards for every day of this week and on into next Tuesday. So today and including up to and on next Tuesday, I have note cards according to the exercise. So the exercise says, make a list of positive affirmations about yourself, write them on note cards and place them where you'll see them regularly. Change the cards often so they stay fresh. When you read affirmations, close your eyes and fully embrace the meaning of the words. Take your time with it, right? Don't just read it and kind of walk away and forget it. Really marinate in it. Let it sink in. Feel the weight of the words. Really pay attention to how you feel when you read the words. And it says, observe any tendency of your mind to reject the affirmation in favor of old, deeply held beliefs. So we can read something like "I love myself," right? And we see the words, and intellectually we know the words, and we of course we want to say, sure, I love myself, right? Like, who doesn't love themselves? We don't want to be seen as somebody who's like unloving toward themselves. That doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't seem healthy, right? But if we have an undercurrent, right, an undercurrent in our brain where it's kind of like, yeah, well, sometimes, and maybe, and if people knew what I really thought about myself, like what would they think, right? So we have this undercurrent of resistance to the idea of whatever it is. That's just an example. So observe any tendency you have in your mind to reject the affirmations in favor of old, deeply held beliefs. Remember, these are our core beliefs. These are subconscious core beliefs. These are things that we have agreed to and operated with for a long time. And so anytime we try to challenge them, face them, oppose them, think something differently, we're going to run into opposition. And the following are some possible affirmations. I am lovable just as I am. I am perfectly imperfect. My needs are important. I am strong and a powerful person. I can handle it. People love and accept me just as I am. It's okay to be human and make mistakes. I am the only person I have to please. Now, these aren't just sort of Pollyanna statements that we're just going to sort of say things like, it's okay to be human and make mistakes. No, really sit with that and think about that for a minute. It's okay. It's okay to make mistakes, right? It's okay. This is how we learn things. This is how we recognize that we're not perfect, that it's okay to accept and allow things to be just as they are, as opposed to resisting them and then being upset internally and telling ourselves that things should be different. And right, so there's a whole. It's not just a nice platitude, right? A nicety. There's some real wisdom in those statements if we'll slow down and read them and really think about the implications of what they're trying to tell us. So what I did was I wrote these note cards out, and here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. Use those examples that he gave as a little bit of a prime the pump, but also for yourself, what is it that you need, right? What do you need to remind yourself of? What do you need to remind yourself about who you are? And I'm going to encourage you to write these statements in active present tense as though they already are true. Because even in those moments when we say, well, this is who I want to be, there may be an element of friction, of resistance, opposition to that. We may think, well, I'm not there yet, right? That's not that's who I want to be, right? But that's not who I am. And so the problem with saying want to be is that we have this someday syndrome, right? Eventually someday syndrome. And it's always off in the distance. It's always over the next hill, always off on the horizon. And we can never get there, right? Because we're always looking to some place that we're not. And so what we want to do is start saying things in active present tense as though we're already in that place, right? Where we are in a continual state of becoming. And if there's some element of the statement that we're out of alignment with, then we can make a new choice in this now, present moment, to be more in alignment, to move toward, right? To be closer to that, that truth of that present active present tense statement. So if you write something and it's not 100% true for you right now, then make a new choice, make an adjustment, make a change that puts you now in more alignment with that statement, and then just live that until you can look at that statement and either overcome your own internal friction or know that, and maybe and, not even or, and know that those two things are true, right? That the intersection of what's in your mind and what's actually happening are the same. So write them in active present tense. And what I've also done is a kind of a stretch goal for myself. He didn't say this in the exercises. I've written on the card, right? I am always okay. And then on the other side of the card, I've written another statement. So for this one, it says, I'm not dependent on others for my happiness, right? I am always okay. Now, I probably, now that I think about it, probably could have written on the back of that card, like, and maybe I'll rewrite this card. Sometimes I don't feel okay, but I'm always okay, which is really the statement that I usually say, right? I usually say, I'm always okay. I'm never not okay. And sometimes I just don't feel okay, but even in those moments, I'm actually okay, right? So that's write something on the back of the card that reinforces the statement on the front of the card. So like for the example, this one says, I am enough. And then on the back of the card, I say, I am doing enough, right? So in the front, I am is a being statement. I am enough. And then on the back side, when I get up in my head and I think that I should be doing something else, or that I'm not doing enough, or I'm not doing it right, I need to remind myself, right, that whatever I'm doing, right, I am doing enough. Now, can I make a new choice? Can I decide that I want to shift my priorities and maybe do something different? Am I organizing my pencils on my desk when I really should be writing an email, or recording a video, or doing some sort of other work that I feel like has more weight and will get me will move me closer to where I want to go? Sure, right? So, but I'm always doing enough, meaning I can only do the things that I choose to do, and I do have a choice about what those things are, but whatever I'm doing is enough. So I have that. So something on the front, something on the back. This is what I'm doing for myself. You don't necessarily have to do it, but I think it's a great idea. And so I got two of those. There's two. I have I am perfectly imperfect. My needs are important. I am the only person I have to please. My permission is all I need. It's okay to be me. I trust me. And I care for and about me. Now, these are all statements that are important to me. They may be important to you as well, but they're the ones that I chose because they're important to me. They're reminders to me. And I also have these, he calls these affirmations. I have them listed as meditations. I have in my journal a list of these type statements that I read through every morning to remind myself of the truth of those statements. And so this exercise I'm really excited about, because it's not just something that we should be one and done. It's actually introducing us to the concept of self-talk. It's introducing us to the concept of self-awareness, being aware of where our friction is, where we are in maybe disagreement with some of the things that we want to be true, and where we start to rewire, recalibrate, retrain our brain to say, you know what, I know we've operated this way for a long time. We've held these particular beliefs, maybe consciously or unconsciously, maybe quietly or silently, but now I choose something different. Yes, all of that came before, and yes, I was subject to all of that, and I see the results of that, but now I choose. I consciously, actively, intentionally, purposely choose something different for myself. I choose what to think about myself, how to talk about myself, and I choose my behavior to be in alignment with those statements so that I can live and experience what it is that I want for myself, and so that I can know that every day when I show up in my life, I'm pleased with who I am being. I know who I am. I know what I want. I know where I'm going. I know what I choose, or I know what my behavior is, right? And I'm pleased with who I'm being. All right. Looking forward to this. Spend some time ahead of time working this out for you. You deserve it. You're worth it. This is important to you. It's not just checking a box on an exercise so that you can show up on the call and say you did your homework. This is for you, and you're worth it. All right. Bye.